Hello, I'm Alexis Davis. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at the TAC. And today we are going to be speaking with Product Manager Yaniv Malay from Cylus. Cylus is our premier co-sponsor for our upcoming Defend the Rail, which is occurring here at the TAC in Columbia, Maryland, February 10th and 11th. And we are thrilled to have Cylus for the fourth year in a row co-sponsoring this fabulous event, which is focusing on our rail safety and critical infrastructure elements that surround ensuring that our railways are critically safe. So welcome, Yaniv.
Hello,
And
Alexis.
how are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm
Yeah.
great. It was a pleasure to talk with Tak.
Yeah. Well, you are a returner. You have been here before, and as I mentioned, this is the fourth annual. It was Hack the Rail. We now are Defend the Rail. That's right. Thank you for wearing one of our previous swag shirts. Love it. Um, so, what I'd like to dive into is a bit about you, Silas, what you're going to be presenting here on at Defend the Rail. But maybe you could start first with a background on yourself.
Yeah, why not? Thank you. I've worked for Cylus for the last 4 years. I'm dealing here with mostly product management, but also a lot of discussions with possible clients, with operators, with rail O&Ms, vendors of equipment, trying to understand what are the needs, how should we shape our product to be answering the needs and protect rail operations.
Hmm.
And before that, my background is some 25 years at government agencies dealing with cybersecurity, maybe cybersecurity in the offensive way also, and a lot of software engineering in my past.
Well, speaking of the railways that you were just touching upon, Silas specifically built for rail environments. Tell me, from what you've seen through all your product management and where you are today, what is so different about securing OT in rail compared to other critical infrastructure sectors?
I think that the rail uh, has its own specifics topics. I think the first one will be that we kind of trying to protect a moving city. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
in OT, people are protecting power plants, people are protecting pipelines or specific factories. But then again, when you talk about railways, we are talking about some kind of a small city on tracks with a lot of different systems, subsystem technologies, wireless technologies, and they're moving at like a 300 kilometer per hour. Sorry, it's not in miles, but you can change that with AI, I guess. But they're moving really fast, okay?
Yeah.
Or moving inside urban areas. And this is a challenge that is not in regular OT. So that will be maybe the first thing. The second thing that I'm always, since I'm dealing with rail, I'm always thinking about is that at kind of a difference with the other OT, it's always popping when you look at the, let's say, the theoretics of the cybersecurity for OT, the Purdue model and such. When you go to trains and we go to the rail industry, this is an industry that cannot really be air gapped or cannot really be segregated from the rest of the
Mm.
world. We're dealing here with, again, it's not a power plant, it's not a pipeline. We're dealing with real people that are moving around, involved. So their safety is directly involved by the operation. It's not like if you have an incident at a power plant and it can impact the city next to it. Like if you have an incident on a train, it's directly impacting people. And
Right.
then because of that, okay, the urgency of the, let's say, the safety case is, I don't know if it's higher, but it's maybe more direct. But also because we have people here and we have passengers and we have a city all around, those facilities, those networks, they kind of not have the choice to be closed. They must be open because none of you in Washington, D.C. will want to go take the commuter without having Google Maps telling you when is the next train. And none of us will want to take the train in London to go into the country without having the possibility to choose between three operators that are selling tickets directly that will reserve your place on the train. And then it's OT. It's the same safety case of the OT, even more direct maybe. But then again, we cannot stop them to having public integrations with different services. And if you take that, I think it's pretty specific to the rail industry.
You went very explicitly in detail, which I totally agree that this critical infrastructure sector is constantly moving. It is not just a stationary power plant or something of that nature. It's constantly moving, people constantly moving. It makes monitoring and keeping safe that much more of a dynamic effort. However, it's not just moving people, it's also our railways globally. I know I can speak more specifically about the US is critical about our supply chain, moving goods and services, moving military goods and
Nuclear
services.
world.
So, yeah, so it really has a huge economic impact in our supply chain. Do you, you know, is that one part and parcel of, moving people versus products, or do you address those a little bit differently when you are doing your product development?
No, I think first of all, the reality is tackling us at looking at that a bit differently because there is a technological difference between freight operations and let's say passenger operations. Those are not necessarily the same system. So in the US, where indeed the freight and supply chain is way more, let's say, I don't know if it's important, but maybe the US the US industry is way more sensitive to the fact that we need to have goods moving.
Yeah.
I think you have the PTC protocol and the PTC technology that is different than anything else that will be used for commuters or for passenger airlines. So first of all, the technology is taking us to this point. From other point of views, I think that definitely the fact that the systems are kind of different. So when you have a freight train, you have some management and operation subsystems on board and on the wayside. But when you have passenger trains, you have a lot more of things. So I guess when you are operating a freight train, you don't need any Wi-Fi for passenger installed that will supply some entertainment for people. You don't need to have the passenger information system telling you what's the next station. So definitely we need to I don't know if we need to change our product necessarily, besides the fact that we need to know the protocols and what are those systems are doing. But we need to be sensitive about the way that the operational context is impacting cybersecurity.
So
So
Cylus's product is, has that dual role. It doesn't matter whether it's the freight or passenger line, but in its application and your use case scenarios of how you're considering the critical the cybersecurity vulnerabilities is where it differs.
yeah, it matters, but our product is built to deal with both sides. It matters because the way we treat the sensitivity of some vulnerability on a freight environment should be different than in a passenger environment. Definitely. And by the way, the operators also are dealing with the safety case in a different manner between both environments.
Yeah. Well, at the upcoming Defend the Rail, we will have community members, be it from industry, government, academia, addressing both passenger and freight rail, really all railways. And you, not just you, Yaniv, but certainly Cylus, again, as our premier co-sponsor, who's been here now 4 years, how have you seen, can you give me an account of how have you seen the conversations mature and evolve year to year?
First of all, and I will say that on stage as last year and the year before, that's my favorite event of the year for the last 4 years.
Love it.
I think it's a very nice event. It's very cozy and even it's almost familiar. I mean, I kind of met last year people that I met for the first 2 years, so I'm not the only one recruiting here. I met some people even from, let's say, U.S. government branches that I can say them hello and hey, what's new?
Right.
That's kind of nice. Looking at the event, I think it kind of evolved from starting being just, hug the rail and having, we had some kind of a hacking contest and a lot of students and academy in the first 2 years. And it evolved from the second year and last year to be something very, very professional. I think last year we see a line of speakers and topics that were very, very aligned with the industry needs and the industry discussions. And I think also that we saw more vendors coming or
Hmm.
sponsors. So it kind of opened the discussions, even in the room where all of the vendors are gathering. We had more discussions between vendors and with possible customers, or let's say rail operators or rail administration, talking with different vendors and opening topics that push the discussion to a very more mature level. And I'm seeing the agenda for this year. I think that we continue on this track. And I hope that we will have a lot of people from the rail industry coming because they are making the discussion really relevant. As
Yeah.
much as I love talking with students each year and people from the academy, which is always good, I get from there a lot of ideas. I think this event is really to put some people from the U.S. rail industry together and make things forward for cybersecurity.
Great, great. I love hearing that perspective, and I'm glad to hear that we're definitely making a difference. And this is an event that we will continue. We will be seeing the fifth year, but right now we are focused on the fourth year. Again, February 10th and 11th. Let me do one more pivot to AI. Are you, as an individual, someone from Silas's team that's pretty experienced with AI? I'd love to hear your perspective on how you're seeing it change the railway systems and what the vulnerabilities and targets may have evolved now with AI affecting our critical infrastructures more than ever. What is your take?
I think I don't know if I'm pretty experienced. Okay, I mean anybody in the tech industry that doesn't want to be a dinosaur should have started understanding the shift here at least 6 months ago, if not before. And I know that when I was in the university on my master's, we talked about machine learning before AI was cool. And today I see that it's pretty spectacular. I think anybody at Cylus today from the R&D, including myself, is trying to, for once, leverage the advantage that we have with the common AI tools. Will it be the generative AI or other things that are currently around? But also trying to understand how we need to deal with that on our product level. But my take on that, and I think we also have a roundtable about that during the event.
Yes, can you give a little heads up on that for the folks that'll be attending?
I think my take will be maybe the preview about what we need to discuss and what is very clear at this point. Besides the thing that we don't know, and it's always true about cybersecurity, we don't know what, let's say, big groups and big threat actors are already crafting from the bad side of the world. But I think we see that we're going to see now how both sides of the topic can leverage AI to push forward the gaps they had before. So if we look at the red side, okay, the attackers, and I did a talk like this last year in Germany when I was really on my way to Germany and I hate my slides, and then I just sat down at the lounge at the airport and I opened ChatGPT. I think it was at that time it was ChatGPT 4, and I just asked him, Tell me something. I am a security consultant, and my rail operator customer, he wants me to pen test his CBTC infrastructure. What should I do? And after I convince sorry, it can be her because it's ChatGPT. After I convinced the AI model that I was legitimate, I had a really, really nice chat with it about what is CBTC? I didn't know about CBTC maybe before as an attacker. And after 5 minutes, now I know what is CBTC, what are the most sensitive or not sensitive components of the architecture, what should I target, how looks an antenna of CBTC Wi-Fi access point and such. And I had a full attack plan for myself. And that was like 6 months ago. I'm pretty sure that if I'm doing this trick now with ChatGPT 5.1 thinking mode, it will be like really, really fast. And that means that the attackers that maybe before they didn't have an idea about what are the rail technologies, what should be targeted, what is maybe too hard to target and find the right targets. Today it's going to be very, very easy. And I'm not even talking about using like cloud code or relevant code AI models, because they can craft for you the script that will already start the reconnaissance and maybe the attack even before you met some of the environment. That's critical. That means that maybe from the first breaching of a network, the attacker now, if in the past even a nation state actor needed like a gap of months, maybe even more than years, between the initial breaching that could be silent until they know what they want to attack to make damage on the rail. Now this time could be shrink very, very significantly. Like I breach the system, I get some first data and maybe some traffic, give that to some AI models, and let's start understanding what should I attack first. So that's from the red side. And that's very interesting. It may be scary, but a red side is always one step ahead of us. For the blue side, for the defenders, and I think that's critical for us to talk about, it's maybe that's going to flip the gap that we have with skilled manpower in security operation centers. We don't have enough people that really understand the hardcore level of those attackers. Sometimes they're just working with products like ours or other product that are giving them alerts. But then again, after that, when they need to correlate what is happening and understand the full context, they need a lot of experience to do that. And I think that now they already have, okay? We did some testing here about how can we implement some AI on the data that Cylus One has to give like fantastic and super fast context. And now any defender have some tools available. Of course, we need to understand what should be used and what not,
Right.
but they can really fast understand what is the attacker doing. So both sides of the cybersecurity for rail have something to learn and to win from using AI. And then that will take us for the next years, I believe.
Well, and that's great. And so for our folks that are going to be attending Defend the Rail, that's exactly what Cylus will be further discussing in their breakout session. So not only in the main agenda, but they're on the agenda there, we have the breakout session where you can really dive deeper into the role that AI is playing in our railways. So I'm excited for that, and I hope our attendees will take advantage of getting to that session and being able to really, have the good two-way conversation about that and do more of a deep dive. So thank you for that. Good teaser for that for our attendees. So, Yaniv, is there anything that we missed? Anything else that you would like to share that will give our attendees a heads up of what to expect at Defend the Rail from Cylus? We've covered quite a bit.
From Cylus, what you can expect is we're going to be a small team, but the best because that's our favorite concept of the year again. And we expect to have discussions with people that try to learn what are the next step in cybersecurity for the networks. We expect to hear a lot about the needs from, let's say, from the field, okay? Because it's not the same environment when you come as a vendor and come to some operator and they know that you want to sell something to them, and you definitely want to say something to them. So I think this kind of conference is really helpful to have real discussions, understand what are the needs. Maybe, I'm a product manager, and maybe I like way over my head about what are the features that they need to manage cybersecurity on a day-to-day basis. And that's the place to learn if I am way over my head, or if I need to explore something else. I'm going to speak there. I think Mickey also is going to speak. So
Yes.
you can expect to find us all around, and let's connect.
Yes. We have Yaniv Millet and Mickey Schiffman will both be speaking from Cylus, and again, having a great additional breakout session to do more of a deep dive in the role of AI in our railways. And really, I'm looking forward. It's only 2 weeks away, February 10th and 11th. We will see you here in Columbia, Maryland at the TAC for yet another great event focusing on the security of our railways, Defend the Rail. And Yaniv, thank you. Thank you, Cylus, particularly 4 years in a row, continuing to shape this event as a headlining co-sponsor, really shaping and evolving the conversation year to year. The event would not be what it is today without Cylus helping it along the way. So we thank you for your participation and driving this forward.
Thank you. Will it be cold?
Yes, probably. We have a big snowstorm coming this weekend, as a
No,
matter
no,
of
no.
fact. But
Oh, yeah.
it's still 2 weeks away, so we'll see. But yes, it will be cold, and I know you're right now enjoying
I just
lovely
came back
weather.
from Florida and it was awesome. Not
It is
cold.
not like that here, not
Yeah.
at all.
Okay.
So, okay. All right,
Good
that's
job.
awesome. That's great, Yaniv. Okay, well, we'll see you soon.
Thank you.